I experienced something during quarantine that I want to talk about. During quarantine, I was watching a lot of media, as everybody does. I was watching a lot of entertainment. And one of the things that I found myself watching was a critically acclaimed movie that a lot of people say is good. I don't think so. I don't usually do movie reviews, but this one really bothered me. Over quarantine, I watched a little movie called Curious Case of Benjamin Button. For those of you that don't remember the Curious Case of Benjamin Button, it's a very simple story where a boy is born backwards. Like he's born as like an 80-year-old fetus, and then he grows up to be a 0-year-old. Like that's his lineage. He grows up into a 25-year-old and then down into 0. Like that's his whole thing. My problem with the movie is that it tricked me like R. Kelly. Let me explain what I mean by that. It tricked me in the way that R. Kelly convinces you that his songs are good because he sings it well. But if you listen to the lyrics and you actually hear what he's saying, you'll realize it's trash garbage. Curious Case of Benjamin Button is that same thing in movie form. It's very well shot. It has a lot of great actors, but that story is trash. That story is garbage. I'll explain to you. It's like the writers in that room thought of everything interesting that could come from that basic plot point and sucked all the fun out of it. I'll go through every plot point in this movie so you understand my point. Plot point number 1. Benjamin's dad, when he's born, decides he's a monster and tries to throw him into the ocean. You know, as you do when you have an ugly baby. And then the police go, hey, don't throw away that ugly baby. So he runs it over to a black woman's house and leaves it on the doorstep. Now I know what you're thinking. Do you want to watch a movie where a young black woman has to raise an elderly white man in the 1960s? That'd be pretty interesting, right? Nope, you get to watch him live in an old folks home and talk to a bunch of white people all the time. Then he grows up down for a little bit longer. He gets a little bit older, younger, and romantic interest comes into the scene. Romantic interest is a 12-year-old girl because inside Benjamin is like 12 years old, but he looks 72. Hey, do you want to watch a movie where a young person has to go through puberty looking like an old person and dealing with puberty and looking kind of like a pedophile while you're crushing on a 13-year-old? Nope, you get one scene where they're in a box fort and then an old lady comes by and goes, shame on you, Benjamin. Like she doesn't live in the house that Benjamin's been living in this whole time. Like, are you the one person they didn't tell that he grows up backwards? You didn't notice that he went from being in a wheelchair to walking around to being Brad Pitt? He also grows up to be Brad Pitt, which I feel like is unfair, but a lot of things get unfair in this movie. We'll get to it. So, Benjamin grows old and young at the same time. You're probably thinking, hey, wouldn't it be interesting to watch this magic miracle man walk around, grow old, young, and does he avoid science? Like, does he lie and tell them that he's old? Or does he just tell everybody and then has to deal with everybody treating him a certain way because of his old youngness? Nope, Benjamin goes on a boat. He rides a boat for the whole movie. He's on a boat. You just get to watch him be on a boat with some old drunk guy and his crew. And you're like, okay, I guess we're doing this now. So he's on a boat, he goes over to Russia, and he's like flirting it up with this old lady, and they have an affair. Spoilers. I should probably say spoilers, but I don't want to waste your time with this movie. It's 3 hours long, as you can tell by this rant. I'm gonna pull it back. So Benjamin comes back from his boating adventure, and he comes back to the city, and young girl has grown into a hot lady. She's all grown up and she's sexy now. She got into dance. She went to Europe. She's cool now. She's walking around being hot and whatnot, and then she throws herself at Benjamin Button. She's trying to get laid with old Brad Pitt. That's what she's trying to do, and she says the line, and I quote, "The lesbians find me awfully attractive. What about you, Benjamin?" That's a line in this critically acclaimed movie. That's a thing that she said. I've never tried that. I've never walked up to a girl and been like, hey, gay men find me pretty attractive. What do you think? Like, it's not gonna work out for you. But Benjamin goes, nah, I'm good, and keeps it moving because he's a gentleman for some reason. I don't know why. He should be in his 20s. He should have hit that. But we keep it moving. So Benjamin goes, where does he go? Does he continue living his life? No, he gets back on another boat. And then he goes sailing the seas during World War II. And you get to see him be on this boat for a couple of seconds until this really weird thing happens where all of his crewmates die. Everyone on the boat that he spent this time with dies. But right before that, I know you're probably sad for Benjamin at this point. He lost everybody important to him on his boat trip. Don't be. His life turns out great in a matter of seconds. Everybody dies, but right before that, there was a guy on the boat who turns to Benjamin and goes, "Hey Benjamin, I don't got any friends or family. If I die in the next 5 seconds, you get all my money." And then he died, and Benjamin got all his money. And you're like, that's never happened ever. I've never been hanging out at work, and then somebody's like, "Man, I'm sad. You want all my money in case I die?" Like, want me to pencil you into my will? But Benjamin's life is amazing, but we're gonna pretend like it's sad. So, he keeps moving. He comes back from after all his friends die, and Hot Girl is still there. I skipped over a part, real quick, gonna rewind. Hot Girl was in Europe doing dance stuff, and she invited Benjamin along to be in the friend zone because she already had a boyfriend, even though she knew that Benjamin liked her. She gets hit by a car. She gets hit by a car, and she's in the hospital. Benjamin flies over to Europe like a good dude and is like, "Hey, I love you. I'm here to make sure you get better." And she's like, "No, you can't take me looking like this." Nothing happens to her face or body. There's nothing wrong with her. But she's like, "I'm hideous. Stay away from me, Benjamin." And then he goes off to war. That whole thing happens. Comes back. Again, he comes back. Hot Girl is healed in the house. So now they're starting to date. They're starting to be in a relationship. It's starting to work out. Things are coming up for old Benji. You're probably now thinking, "Hey, Zero, you know what else would be an interesting plot point?" There's a point where they're dating, and he starts looking younger than she looks, and she starts doing the girl thing and being insecure. And she starts going, "Hey, it's really sucky for me having to see you grow up and be beautiful." Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a great plot point. I'd love to watch a relationship where she has to come to terms or not come to terms with the idea that he's gonna be young and she's gonna be old. Just that conflict, and seeing all the young girls coming at your man and how much of a struggle that is for an older woman. Like, that's a struggle that I would love to watch. You get that for 30 seconds, because guess what? She's pregnant now. Now we got more problems. New problem is now Benjamin is about to be a father. Do you want to watch a young old man raise a little kid as he's becoming a little kid? No, you don't. You don't want to see that, because Benjamin's got to go over to India for some reason. And so Benjamin goes to India. Why did he leave his girl and his kid? Here is his reason. I don't want my baby to have like a 14-year-old dad when she's 20-something. As if you couldn't explain your weird thing, and kids don't accept everything. Like, they accept the tooth fairy, they accept Santa Claus, but they won't take your weird growing up backwards, despite you showing it by doing it. But okay, so Benjamin leaves because he's really a bad person. But don't feel bad for the lady, because you're probably like, "Oh, he left the wife. That's really messed up. Why would he do that?" She's a bad person too, because she just turns to her right and has this rando, who you don't really meet, take care of Benjamin's kid. Like, she's just like, "Hey, you want to get married?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And then she just has him take care of the kid while they're kind of together, and she's hoarding all this stuff about Benjamin. Just pictures and notebooks and like romantic diary notes. Like, that's the entire thing that she's doing the whole time. Then they get older. Benjamin is found in some abandoned warehouse because he has little kid Alzheimer's, because that's how it works. And he's put into the home, and she comes back, she's like, "Oh, forget my current family, I'm gonna go take care of Benjamin now." So she goes over to take care of Benjamin for the twilight years of his life until he dies a baby fetus. Now, I know all of that sounded very fantastical and really crazy, and not really interesting despite all the interesting plot points. But you know what makes it even more weird is that all of this takes place in a flashback during Hurricane Katrina. What? Why? Why are we in... We're with, like, the whole story is being told from the perspective of the dancer girl romantic interest as she's dying in the hospital, telling her daughter the true identity of her father, who is Benjamin Button. And all of this is to tell you the moral of the story, that it's never too late, you guys. It's never too late to do things. Don't feel bad about being older and doing stuff. You can just do that. Benjamin did not need to grow up backwards for you to teach me that lesson. You could have told this story normally, and I would have got that lesson. So why did you do this? This movie upset me so much that I did that thing that you do where you don't believe you just wasted your life. So you go to Google and you're like, somebody explain this video to me. I can't believe this movie was that dumb. And I watched two 10-minute long videos of people explaining the ending of Benjamin Button. And they only told me what I already knew, and that's that this movie is dumb. This movie would have been better. I was just dying. I was dying for it to be a beautiful metaphor. I was dying for it to be like, oh, that's a thing they're telling you. They're telling you the story of Benjamin Button as an older man who's growing up younger, to identify him as, like, he's not really an older man growing up younger, but he's immature. He's an older man with immature guy tendencies. So he doesn't want to take care of his kids. So he doesn't want to be around. That's what I wanted the movie to be. It's not that. Don't watch it thinking it's going to be that. That's the thing I came up with in my mind, to let me be okay with the fact that I wasted 3 hours watching Brad Pitt be Brad Pitt in the last half of the movie, and his life just keeps working out for him. I skipped over other plot points, one of which is that Benjamin Button, his father started a button company. He started a button company and became a millionaire, and then he died. Guess who got all his money? Guess who got all of Benjamin Button's dad's money? Benjamin Button. Benjamin Button got to be a rich little kid for nothing. He struggles not at all through this whole movie. There's one moment where he struggles. 1, 2, if you count all his friends dying. But I don't, because he immediately gets rich. If all my friends died and I got their money, I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably be okay. I think I'd be sad. I don't know, maybe I'm a monster. They say money can't buy you happiness, but, like, I don't know, man. I've seen people's entourages, like, you know, like all those friends who just tell you you're dope all the time. Like, I know it makes you a bad person, but, like, that's pretty sick. Like, have your friends be, like, encouraging for once instead of telling you you suck. Because that's real friendship. Real friendship is tearing you down. I've been talking for a long time. Has anybody been timing me? I'm a bad host. I know I'm the last one, so I'm allowed to do this. But Nick's brother gotta go home, and I just ranted about Benjamin Button.
Hi, I'm Rimpson, comedian. To see more goofs and shows I have coming, follow me on my Instagram.